But like, okay, so we know that Dr. Casey did not like your article in Time magazine that was talking about ultra processed foods.
The people don't know that.
Okay, well, let's tell them about it. So yeah, Casey is usually pretty upbeat and positive and doing her manifesting. But every once in a while, there'll be someone that just like really irks her. And this was you.
Yay. Welcome back to Making It Awkward, a podcast that finds a surprise connection between all of our favorite foodfluencers and grifters. You can watch this episode on YouTube and Spotify. Today, Selena Salfen returned to the show just in time for us to learn more about the presumptive Surgeon General nominee and the whole Means family. One of my favorite facts about the family is that Dad has openly expressed support for the LGBTQIA+ community, only to have his kids support an administration that is anything but. Casey is one foodfluencer who has bothered to address my work. My hypothesis for the attention paid to me is that they are threatened by anybody who promotes critical thinking. An example of Calley's response to critical thinking was on display for Politico Live's Healthcare Summit. In a conversation with Dasha Burns, he kind of had a meltdown and folks started laughing at him.
CNBC, it's just a nonstop. It's a nonstop infomercial for pharma. It's a Sky Rizzy commercial followed by Scott Gottlieb saying how Bobby's killing people, followed by a breathless coverage of the measles outbreak and no mention of
the mental health crisis. How does cutting a bunch of HHS solve that problem?
It is insane. It is insane for you to insinuate that the thing standing between us and better health is more government bureaucrats. Like that's
not what I meant. That's not what I'm insinuating.
That is what everyone's saying. It is absolutely insane to insinuate that it's some crime.
It's not all bureaucrats. It's a lot of scientists. It's researchers. It's people who are making sure that
those scientists fundamentally have overseen, just demonstrably, a record of utter failure. It would be insane. Is that funny?
Casey has taken a swipe at me for my understanding of reality and how the current administration is 0% invested in its people. And Calley has agreed, saying in one statement that, quote, DEI has actually infected science in a really problematic way where the dietary guidelines actually have to consider affordability. They have to consider equity, and actually they recommend ultra-processed foods to kids because they say, well, we can't possibly expect people to afford real whole food. You should have zero thought about equity or affordability in scientific guidelines, end quote. Cool. It's going great. Selena shares why some of the Maha faithfuls aren't supportive of Casey's nomination for Surgeon General. We also discuss that light bulbs are deadly, but not in the way you think. Selena shares what we could be doing while we brush our teeth. Selena and I get into Calley's company Truemed and its con. One partner of Truemed is Peloton, which both Selena and I use. We get into our favorite instructors, and those will be in the outro. And with that, Selena, welcome back to the show.
Thank you. I'm very happy to be talking to you today about this.
I'm super excited. We did not plan this timing, but it was just 2 days ago that it was announced that probably, Casey Means will be nominated to be the Surgeon General of the United States of America.
Yes, and I have been deep diving into her and her brother for probably over a month now.
Let's see. What would you be? The resident expert or the preeminent scholar? That's it.
Yes, I'm a means scholar.
All right. Let's get into it. How did you decide to start with these two and get into the deepest of dives?
Well, I think when we did our last episode on Maha, I feel like, I was just super interested in all of their messaging and all the contradictions in it. But I also think that their messaging is especially frustrating because it can make a lot of sense if you don't dig in deeper.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I feel like in my past, I have definitely been susceptible to a lot of these fears around toxins and health and food. And definitely part of that brought me towards being a registered dietitian. And then luckily, like with all the training and the work, I got out of those ways of thinking.
With training, is that what you're saying?
Training, yes. More than one nutrition class.
Yeah.
For medical doctors. Yeah, more than that. It takes more than that. But yeah, I mean, I just definitely want to leave space for people who find this rhetoric very convincing and very alarming.
That's fair. That's nice of you.
Thanks. Yeah, Cassie Means and I both come from the vegan world and are both no longer in that world. But yeah, it's there.
It's there. The connection's been made.
Yeah. I want to make one disclaimer though.
Yes.
Because I know the nature of our content here, there might be some allegations thrown at me as far as like, what is, who's paying me to hang out with you today.
Mm-hmm.
That would be no one. That would be no one. Yeah. So, I mean, I'm not even a member of the association or
Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics.
Yeah, me neither. Professional. So yes, I'm not a member of the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics for multiple reasons.
Yes.
And then I was going to say that I've never taken money from the food industry, but that's not true. Because back in my previous life, when I was in photography, I did an ad for Clausen pickles. So
that's cute.
I have been paid $6,250 to take pictures of pickles, trying not to make them look phallic. It was great. So I cannot say that I have not taken money from craft foods, but I am no longer in this profession ever taking money from a food company.
Which makes you a better person than I am. Because again, if somebody pays me millions of dollars a year, you better bet I'll be doing that. I too have not been paid ever. Well, I am not currently paid. This is not sponsored by Big Food, Big Sugar, Big Soda. So yeah, I think we're pretty clear that we'll be all right. Tucker Carlson was worried that his YouTube videos of his podcast with the Mean siblings would be demonetized for telling the truth. So I think, we don't have that risk because we're not monetized. So we'll be good. It'll be fine.
Good. Very safe.
Very. So who are these siblings, Selena?
Okay. So yeah, I guess we're going to prioritize Dr. Cassie Means and talk about her at the high level here. So she is a medical doctor. There's been some controversy in the news about her lapsed license, which I think lapsed in 2019. She did her year of internship. She is a doctor. She can call herself Dr. Casey if she wants. Not that she has a ton of experience in that area, but we'll get to that. She has most of her experience in being a health influencer. And then she has a weekly sponsored newsletter that she puts out. I don't know how much she gets paid for that. I would be curious, but let's see. She was, I think, the chief medical officer of Levels, which is a health tech company focused on testing and continuous glucose monitoring. And she founded that with some other tech bros. But I think she just quit that. And she's going full time into her next venture. She's an investor. She invests in her brother's company, Truemed, Function Health, which is like $500 a year for 100 lab tests, Farmer's Juice, Zen basil seeds. So
Farmer's Juice? I missed that one.
Yeah. Organic cold pressed juice.
Oh, okay. Farmers. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. She's definitely an RFK enthusiast. And as we've now learned, she is the Surgeon General presumptive nominee. And yeah, just like things she likes, she's definitely a fan of using seaweed instead of burger buns for her burgers. Manifesting her destiny. Lately, I noticed she's been adding emotional piano music to her reels, spirituality. So yeah, she's got lots of things that she's really into, and especially food.
The medical license lapsing was not until recently something that was regularly talked about or ever talked about. She would always come in as the doctor, even though, she had dropped out of her medical program, of her medical residency, and has been so brave, #brave for doing so, for saying that this is not the way to make people healthy, and so well revered for not finishing something. So brave for just walking away from a residency with the, hundreds of $1,000s in debt.
Those are my thoughts exactly. I just wonder what it would be like on the right if someone did that. I think about Was it Simone Biles who didn't finish the gymnastics meet at the Olympics or something? I mean, I just, it's interesting that they're celebrating her for basically wasting 9 years of med school and surgical residency when we have a shortage of surgeons.
Good point. Yes. And she has been somewhat open with how financially she was able to do that, which is a weird disclosure. It seems not consistent with their brand, but how she would, she knew she was going to be fine if she walked away. And I was like, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, she has definitely backing, but we don't know how much of it. Like, I don't know if she has any student loans at this point or not.
We'll find out. So who's her brother?
Okay. Her brother is Calley Means. So if anyone's seen Secession, he's basically Kendall Roy. And if like Kendall Roy and Saxon Ratcliffe from the 3rd season of White Lotus had a child, it would be Calley Means.
That's amazing.
Yes. So I often feel conflicted. I feel kind of sad for him sometimes, but also very annoyed by him. He's a very fast talker and talks, all the statistics coming out of his mouth very fast so that you believe what he's saying. He's a Harvard MBA.
Yes.
Former lobbyist, and he's the co-founder of Truemed and also an investor in multiple companies. He is now RFK's special White House advisor. And things that he's a fan of are capitalism and libertarianism, Ronald Reagan, #Yacht Week, which is something I found out.
Okay.
Yeah. I think it's an Ivy League thing. I don't know. Yeah. Vacations all around the world, hanging out with his buddies and, private boxes at sport games. So this is kind of his deal.
The relatable type of guy with boat
Absolutely.
shoes. Yeah. He previously was a never Trumper.
He was. Yeah. I mean, he either worked for Republican campaigns or voted Republican, but stopped that with Trump. But now I think he's in a good position to maybe run someday himself or something.
Oh, I never thought about that.
Yeah, in Arizona, that's my prediction.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Do you want to go into the family background here?
I would love to.
Okay.
So in 2021, their mom died of pancreatic cancer, which I actually do feel very bad for them about. I think it was devastating for them. They both called her their best friend. And this really kind of pushed them more into the work that they're doing now because they considered pancreatic cancer a preventable metabolic condition. Right. And they feel like her doctor should have given her a detailed dietary plan early on and that there were all these things that were missed and that she was on multiple pharmaceuticals. So yeah, they're pretty bitter about that and using it to spread their message.
Yeah.
So yeah, they wrote this book called Good Energy in May 2024. That's when it came out. And it basically, the premise is we have the ability to prevent and reverse most health conditions.
Including autism.
And, sorry?
Including autism.
Including autism. Yes, they don't dig into that as much, which I appreciate, but no, they're still negative about that. But yeah, they believe that most health conditions are under your control and fixing them is simpler than you think. And then they kind of worked their way up. I imagine they had some sort of PR machine behind this, but they ended up on the Tucker Carlson podcast. And that was the most shared episode of 2024. And that's how they got on a lot of people's radar.
Okay.
Yeah.
What did you think about that YouTube episode /podcast?
With Tucker?
Yes.
I think it was probably very convincing to a lot of people.
Yeah.
I feel like the first time I listened to it, I'm like, there's some ideas in here that aren't terrible.
Right?
Right?
Yeah.
Is that how you felt?
Yeah. I was like, yes. Yeah. Like the pharmaceutical companies being invested in like the American Diabetes Association and, the things that we know about our field as well. It's like, they were pointing those things out and maybe you and I already knew them. What resonated for you on that one?
I mean, one thing that I had to think about when I listened to that Tucker Carlson podcast is like all of Tucker Carlson's beliefs. Like he's very anti-trans, very anti-Black Lives Matter. I just had to kind of go back and remember, he says that immigrants make our country a dirtier place or something. He's said a lot of terrible things. He believes a lot of terrible things. And on that, he just sounded like he was so invested in children's health, which is something that Calley says a lot. Like, oh, if you don't agree with what we're saying, hook, line, and sinker, like you do not care about chronic disease or children's health. It's an either or. Hard.
Mm-hmm. Yes, the trans kiddos, what did he call it? Trans epidemic? Oh, I don't know. It was something to that effect, but it came from the story about how, if you give frogs atrazine, if you give male frogs atrazine, they will turn into female frogs. And then, yes, that was the, with this epidemic of transness in our country, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. And then he was trying to get Calley and Cassie to kind of pile onto that. And of course, Calley just pivots, which is, it's a problem with what they don't say. I mean, have a spine. From looking through their Instagrams and, their whole digital footprint, like I don't necessarily believe that they're anti-LGBTQ plus, anti-trans. Like I don't believe that, but they are not standing up for folks right now because it's politically expedient.
That's a good point. What else have you enjoyed about them?
Well, I feel like they don't really have that much to add that's not been said in progressive circles. And like health-wise, they don't really have that much to add.
No. I
mean, I care about metabolic issues. I think there's something worth thinking about and not obsessively, but, so there's not a lot here except that they're just making it palatable for libertarians and the far right.
Interesting. Yeah, that came up with your and Megan's episode, how this is so new for people to be talking about chronic disease. Is it?
The environment and like
I know
toxins. What?
Yeah, no, Indigenous folks have not been trying to reclaim food sovereignty ever.
Nope.
Yeah.
Nope. Yeah. And I've never heard, Casey and Calley talk about the water protectors or, they don't talk about that, but yeah. So overall, I would say they're very conspiracy minded. Like they have the message that you don't trust your doctor, don't trust an oncologist because cancer rates are going up. I mean, Calley doesn't know how to read research, but that's a whole other thing. Yeah. Yeah. Don't trust the NIH, the USDA, FDA. Everyone wants people to be sicker, pharma, healthcare, hospitals, the whole thing. Yeah. So they have the conspiracy language. So I'll read this quote from Calley. He said, "I think we can't quite wrap our head around how bad it is and how so many people are complicit. But there's all these signs right now. And I think we're going to be brought to our knees if we don't realize this, that our institutions are captured."
In the Tucker Carlson episode, it really sounded like everybody was shitting on doctors. How doctors go into this field, they don't understand. She understood, she got out, while all of these doctors don't actually care about their patients. They're treating patients. They're not telling them to eat organic foods and exercise. Yeah.
Yeah. She doesn't understand patient-centered care or like body autonomy or the psychology of talking to someone.
Or real barriers that say somebody, one of their patients might not be able to only buy organic food. Every doctor is brainwashed into the system. And I was like, that sounds rude.
Really insulting. Yeah. You know doctors. I know doctors.
Exactly.
Like, what?
Right.
Yeah. So they're both deeply inspired by Mark Hyman. So Casey said that she, quit med school inspired by him and wants to devote her life to improving the incentives of food and health. And then Calley also really bought into Dr. Mark Hyman. So yeah, overall, I'd say these folks, they're very book smart. They have a good lexicon and they're fast talkers.
I feel like from the Tucker Carlson to everything since that, Calley has always been really good on his points and sticking to them and the stats. And Casey has really grown over time. From Tucker to Huberman, there's a totally different person, the way that she was just coming at the stats, the claims, everything. She did drop out and go, more into functional medicine. And as we know, kind of a pseudoscience and not at all respected by medical establishments. But that's what makes it so, wonderful and #brave, because it's going against the grain. And so anybody doing that is really somebody we should be trusting.
And I think functional medicine has some things to offer, but it's very tailored towards people who can afford it.
Yeah.
People who want to make it their hobby. Who have time and money to make it their hobby. So
I love that. Yeah. The people who were like really on a Sunday afternoon, how can I lower my biological age?
Yeah.
What can I do in my life to make me 40 instead of 45?
Mm-hmm. And apparently it can be done quickly. They say that a lot too.
Yeah. So. I only need a few supplements.
So yeah, let me go back to their childhood and then we'll move into like all the
great
fun of it. Okay. As Calley says, they grew up down the street from the White House.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't quite down the street, but so they both went to private boarding schools. I don't think they stayed there overnight or whatever. But anyway, either way, the tuition, at least currently now, starts at $55,000 and $46,000 per year.
Okay.
Uh-huh. And yeah, we're talking about dietitians taking money.
Yes.
Average salary of a dietitian is, I think, $65,000. So,
depending. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, average, right? Mm-hmm. It can start much lower than that. But yeah, send your kid to that $55,000 school and have $10,000 to live on.
Wow.
Yeah. So overall, I think they had a good childhood. They say they had a good childhood. They say they had good parents. Their parents were supportive.
Yeah.
So their dad was Grady Means. He was a Stanford grad and a management consultant for big companies like Target drone companies. He was a systems engineer. He also served in the White House under VP Nelson Rockefeller, and he served as an economist for the Department of Health, Education, and Welfare. So I don't know exactly what he did there, but he was definitely working on like food stamp reform. I don't know in a good way or a bad way, but, they have this history about food policy. And then, in the 80s and 90s, he led the privatization of state assets in South America and Eastern Europe.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
These folks are capitalists through and through.
Uh-huh.
And he wrote a book called Metacapitalism.
Mm-hmm.
And he also wrote another book called The Adventures of Felix the Flamingo. And this is
okay.
This is a children's book. He wrote it in 2020.
Oh.
And it's about a flamingo who realizes he's gay with the help of Gail Bird, which is his wife's name. And this flamingo marries a gander and they adopt a giant family of unusual birds.
Oh my goodness.
Mm-hmm.
This does not square.
No, it does not sound.
No. Wow. I don't know if you've said that the kids went to Stanford, but this makes sense. Yes, if dad did, because
they did go to Stanford. Yeah.
Yeah. Nobody loves nepotism more than rich people. Yes. Oh, something that they said in an interview was how they were incentivized. They were never punished. So they were incentivized to do, critical thinking. And that's really, what America needs. That was just a model for America to be incentivized to do good things. And it was like, that's weird, but okay.
Yeah, they would like read the Bible and Ayn Rand and spiritual text and then sit around and talk about them. I mean, it sounds fun.
Yeah. I guess. Right. Jeopardy would have been their thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Totally.
And they threw a party for Cassie when she quit medical school.
Yeah. Casey, though. Oops. I'm sorry. I messed you up because I said Cassie.
Good. Okay. Where are we going to have to do? Okay.
We're going to say it again. Just say Casey. I don't know if it.
Okay. Sorry, Jen. And they. Are we sure?
Yeah.
Okay, you're sure.
See, I told you that I was going to combine their names and say Cassie, but it's, Calley and Casey.
This is actually kind of funny. Maybe we should put this at the beginning. Yeah, we could just, Okay. It's the parents' fault. And they threw a party for Casey when she quit medical school, like in somehow celebration of that and her #bravery.
Yeah. I wonder if they paid for it.
The party or the med school?
Oh, the med school.
Yes.
But, that's nice. Like, I don't want her to keep doing something that is making her miserable and sick in the ways she defines it. She did have terrible jawline acne, she said, when she was stressed out. I don't know.
Well, you know what that's from?
What?
Her diet.
Oh, yeah. She was not living the lifestyle back then.
No, she could have just fixed that with some natural light, some organic vegetables, and better sleep. So it makes sense that she had acne.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, so their mom was Gail Brown Means. I think she was very supportive of her kids. And yes, it is sad that she passed away from pancreatic cancer. Yeah, I don't get the impression that she was a terrible person or, she enjoyed her social life and her children. I know she celebrated Pride in 2015. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Huh.
With that narrative.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. Something that Cassie has said is that she weighed 210 pounds in eighth grade. And that was a natural progression because both her and her brother weighed 12 pounds at birth. And so, of course, she weighed 210 pounds in eighth grade. I have searched for these photos. I have not seen them. And it's wild to just, I don't know, to say that in the context. And then they didn't say, and I did X, Y, and Z thing, and now I'm as thin as I am. It was just like, and they didn't even say that my parents fed us, microwave meals. So where and in what context is this relevant and or true? And actually, I don't believe anything from them until I've given proof because they're great liars.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to know, but I mean, sometimes the people who have, quote unquote, lost the weight and kept it off are some of the most dangerous people when they're spreading misinformation, right?
Yeah. So the narrative there just isn't matching, and it's interesting to me.
Yeah. Yeah. And of course, they also blame that on the fact that their mom had gestational diabetes during pregnancy. And they say that's the beginning of what led to pancreatic cancer. So, yeah, I don't know about that. I'm not an expert on pancreatic cancer, but I think there might be some other things going on there.
Maybe. So
Cassie
is looking like she's going to be nominated to be Surgeon General. How quickly and how did that happen?
Well, I knew she was on the short list, and I actually kind of assumed that wasn't happening at this point. And so you sent me that article. Yeah, so I think she actually did not want to be Surgeon General because there are things that she doesn't agree with. I mean, she's not anti-vax. Sometimes they'll bring up things like they're anti-giving the Hep B vaccine to kids, or babies at birth. Yeah. Well, she's brought up recently how she's against companies not being able to be sued if somehow there's a damage from the vaccine. I mean, I feel like she's trying to throw some things out there that speak to the medical freedom community, but she has not done that enough because they are pretty mad about her nomination. She's definitely not anti-vax enough. They're upset that she is into like wearable technologies and things that harvest data. Yeah, like the continuous glucose monitors that Level sells for way more than a continuous glucose monitor should cost. I think it's $200 a month for that. You can get another one for like $89. I've actually worn one of those before. I find them pretty fascinating.
Yeah?
Yeah, I wouldn't want to do it normally, but I mean, it is interesting to just kind of practice what you preach and be like, okay, I say that there are weight neutral ways to address, blood sugar. And that is true because, I saw how combining something with protein affected my blood sugar. So it is pretty fascinating. I just wouldn't get addicted to it like they do.
Well, yeah. Speaking of addiction, you just reminded me, she has a walking treadmill for working with. It's only like 1 mile per hour, but it's helpful for her to be active, but she puts her Oura ring on her toe. So she gets like credit. She gets steps for it. That sounds a little compulsive and maybe a little addicting, that she can't just have the claimed benefits of moving, but she's got to count it for it to count.
Yeah. I mean, thank goodness. Again, back to hobbies, right?
Thank goodness.
I just wonder, like, is it hard for her to like cherry pick data while she's walking on that treadmill? I mean, I guess she's only going at 1, but
yeah. What is her job? What does she do? Okay, whatever.
That newsletter, I think, because she doesn't do podcast anymore.
Okay.
So she does that newsletter and probably gets a big chunk of money each week to do that.
That's true. Okay.
Yeah. Plus all her investments.
Oh, yeah. Apparently, if you have those, you have to like manage them.
I don't know what those are. That sounds nice.
You have to have money to invest, and we're just dietitians. It's fine.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, another thing she's talked about is the amazing Kevin Hall, which is a callback to our favorite ultra processed foods researcher, yes, who quit because of censorship and perhaps saying that food is not addictive, which didn't align. So interesting that, she'll be in the department that he did not trust or under the umbrella. Yeah. It's wild out there.
Mm-hmm. It is. I know. I don't know whose side to be on anymore. Like,
I know, right? That's a good point.
Yeah.
Oh, that's something else that I noticed in her evolution is the language that she's gotten to be more Huberman-esque, which is things that synergistically and directly messes up our mitochondria.
Yeah. Mitochondrial dysfunction is, yes. I had to learn what they were talking about. I mean,
what are they talking about, Selena?
Oh, gosh. I mean, basically, like, we need our mitochondria to produce more ATP and fuel the body. Mm-hmm. And we can't do that if we are not feeding them the right things to be able to do that, or giving them the right sunlight or the right, et cetera, all the stuff that's on their list.
Along with the synergistically and directly messing up our mitochondria, she was doing her ENT residency and noticing, the inflammation and the pus of, somebody's sinuses and being like, wow, that's not normal. We're just treating that, when what we should be treating is their mitochondrial dysfunction, because that causes, in the end, somebody to have sinusitis. Mm-hmm. And, that was really a turning point for her in her decision to quit.
Yeah. So she quits that residency, she makes this whiteboard and manifests her destiny and decides what she's going to do, writes her 30,000 foot plan. Yeah. But while she's figuring out that plan, and before she moves to Los Angeles to be more of an influencer, mm-hmm. she starts doing private practice where she's doing functional medicine. And I could not find if she accepted insurance. I am guessing no.
Yeah.
So she had folks coming to her, knowing what she was peddling. Mm-hmm. And that's really some of the only experience I think she's had in working with patients on her own, mm-hmm. is people who have the means to come to Dr. Casey Means.
Yeah.
But let me tell you about some of her services.
Okay. I'm excited.
She had a pantry clean out where she would come to your pantry and throw away the foods that you should not be eating. That costs $400.
No. Okay.
Yeah. 2 hours, $400, and throw them out. Don't give them away or anything.
2 hours to throw somebody. Okay. Sorry. Keep going.
Mm-hmm. Keep going. Seed oils are tricky.
Oh, you have to read every label.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And then she would also do a guided tour through Whole Foods.
Stop.
Yes. Also for $400.
No. We are doing the wrong thing.
I know.
In the wrong. Yes. We can be making a lot of money doing the things that we do for free for patients, but it's okay.
I know. I'm thinking about the Cooking Matters grocery store tours. I mean, there's these things exist out there. They don't cost $400.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Do you want to go to their list?
Give it to me. Everything that I need to be changing.
Okay. So I told you when we talked about doing this podcast that I was going to try and follow her food list. I did not do that.
No.
Because one, I don't think it's healthy for my mind to do that. And two, I couldn't live in the world.
Yeah.
I had all these conferences that I had to attend, and I was like, I'm not going to bring my own food to these and make people think I'm on some diet. I'm not going to tell people no when they offer me something nice. I'm just, anyway, I want to be with people and eat. Yeah. Okay. So I did not try Casey's food list, but let's go over Casey's food rules.
Okay.
So she says that food is number one and not negotiable.
Yeah.
And these are really things that she recommends to other people. These are not just Casey's food rules.
Okay.
So we have to eat real foods, not processed foods. Mm-hmm. And she started kind of light on that. And she really evolved it to never eat a bite of also ultra processed food ever again.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. So on October 15th, 2024, she posted, never buy ultra processed food ever again. If we don't buy it and if we speak out and reject it when it's served to our families or our kids, it will go away.
that's how Mark's supplements are going to go also. Yeah.
Okay. Yes.
Jillian Michaels, colostrum. Yeah. Preservation. Okay. So foods, but maybe not the supplements. Okay.
Also on the list, no refined grains. So no any type of flour. And in fact, on her personal food list that she gives to her newsletter subscribers, she puts no grains at all. So
okay.
Brown rice, like nothing that, one would normally consider to be on that healthy, fiberful side.
Mm-hmm.
Zero added sugars, no industrial seed oils.
Yeah.
And then she goes from organic food when possible, which, okay, sure,
Okay.
to don't buy things that aren't organic, to do not eat non-organic food.
Okay, because those organic chemicals and pesticides, those are healthy. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I know. I mean, I grew up with an organic farm the size of a basketball court. I mean, you do spray stuff.
Yeah, you do.
Farm, but
I sure did. Whatever.
Yeah. And I don't know. I think it's fine for us to remove some of the pesticides from our food system.
Yeah.
But
bringing bees and other things back. Without, a lot of the things that go into our soil and on our plants. Yeah.
So I support that, but make it affordable, and make it affordable first before you start limiting things.
That's an episode.
Yes. Okay. So people can only eat organic grass-fed dairy products and meat.
Mm-hmm.
And the best place people should shop is definitely at farmers markets. And if you know your farmer, that's better. People should be growing their own food. But this is where her lack of experience shows, because if you want people to do that, you have to do soil testing.
Mm-hmm.
You have to know the zoning rules.
Mm-hmm.
There are a lot of immigrant communities that would love to farm in their yards. And, I don't know, we're trying to support that where I work now, but it's a big task, and it's a multi-year task, and it's not just everyone can, buy that raised bed and just start planting.
1000%.
Yeah.
As we know, or folks who have listened to this podcast for a bit, grass-fed, the regulations are it ate a bite of grass. So good. All right. Great. Mm-hmm.
Well, maybe Casey will fix that when she's top priority. Okay, so she, wants you to eat 12 servings of vegetables per day, eat 30 plants a week, which I'm sure you've heard from that American Gut Project. No?
The American what project?
Gut Project. They say you need to eat 30 different plants per week. I don't know.
But none of them can be grains. So how do I?
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
Yeah, I think they mean fruits and vegetables.
That's impossible. Do I buy one of each? I can't imagine the cost, but also the logistics there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Do spices count? Dried spices? Okay, at least 50 grams of fiber you have to eat per day, which, again, that shows her lack of experience, because some people, that's not going to work for them. I mean, of course, anti-inflammatory and antioxidant foods every day. So colorful spices, fruits, veggies, curcumin, garlic, omega-3s. You have to have 3+ grams of that every day. 4 or more servings of probiotic foods. So, put that raw sauerkraut on everything. Yeah. And then add an insulin sensitizer to every meal. So that's vinegar, cinnamon. Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's, because that'll go. Yeah. I mean, what else would I put on my eggs other than vinegar and cinnamon or cinnamon?
Ooh, that sounds. Ooh, yeah. I'm gonna try that.
Maybe some kimchi or a fermented food, but what? Okay, not happening. Anyway, anything else on this list?
Yeah, I mean, there's, we have to drink filtered water, of course. Reverse osmosis is preferred.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh, maybe only eat in a certain window of time. I feel like that's debatable, because her and Huberman talked about that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's so maybe some people eat all their food in the morning and then not the rest of the day, or don't eat after a certain time. I don't know. It's a little debatable. I think they want you to wear your continuous glucose monitor and figure out
Got it.
what your brand of that is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So intermittent fasting is of course, Casey and Calley are fasting twins. They like to do that together. I think Monday. Take high quality supplements. And from what I can see from Casey's regimen, that would be lots and lots of them.
Interesting. Okay.
And she takes a prenatal every day, even though she's not trying to have a baby, because she has a sponsor called WeNatal.
Okay.
Yeah. And then she also quit drinking. I mean, she's evolved this stuff over time to be more and more restrictive and more necessary.
Got it. Does she say anything about her routine? Huberman's clear, but has Casey given us her daily routine?
I know that she goes out in the morning to get her sunlight while she's brushing her teeth, but that's not a yeah.
Okay.
2 minutes out there. But I don't know. Yeah, I don't know a whole lot about her food routine because, early on in her influencer life, she was posting lots of what she ate, and now she doesn't do that as much.
Interesting.
Part of it might be the fact that she evolved from vegan to, I remember the post when she started eating salmon. It was like, I still get 95% of my food from plants. And then it evolved to like, my husband bought me this freezer of beef and here's my cow. I don't know.
Yeah, definitely. Some of my favorite things that she said about things that we should have in our daily routine, again, the natural sunlight. We should have normal temperature fluctuations. So the air conditioner and the heater were bad for us because we are not exposed to temperature stress anymore. And I'm like, oh, good. And global warming and deaths that occur from heat. Yeah. Okay, cool. And one of my favorite facts that she spits is how quickly all of this changed in a blink of an eye, which is how air conditioning came to be. But also the light bulb she mentioned specifically, light bulb, 1806, which is only 0.04% human history. That's why it's happening in a blink of an eye.
Oh my goodness.
So we didn't even realize it. We were using candlelight apparently until 1806.
Well, Calley has a post on his blog called Deadly Light Bulbs. So,
shut it.
Yeah, I was like, oh, is there something in light bulbs that I should know about? Like if I break one, should I put on some gloves to clean it up? No. It was just about the fact that it's light. So,
wow.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Do they use computers? Yes.
They do, but I feel like it's a limited amount of time. I don't know. She does. So she's very clear about not using your phone at night and locking it in a mode, K mode, whatever that is. I don't know. Yeah. Not all of this is bad advice. We could all be on our phones less or whatever, but it's the intensity with which they bring it. Yeah. And so she has a lot of rules around mental health and her regimen there too.
Okay.
Yeah. So, I love the way she talks about wanting people to learn to regulate stress.
Right.
It's just mind over matter, right? Yeah. So she wants people to just unplug from work and be present. Yoga, deep breathing. She has this whole toolkit that she uses for herself, spend time in nature. That's great.
New information. This is new.
Yeah. But then of course, I think about what's happening in the United States right now. So it's ice knocks on your door and you just do some deep breathing and things are okay. Doge lays you off, just, follow the Dr. Casey method. So it
manifest your,
yes. It's, you can control all this stuff. There's never any life stressors that are out of your control. So she's pro therapy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Good.
But of course she doesn't understand that that isn't free and not everyone can afford that. So, I hope that she has these priorities in the Surgeon General that make therapy accessible.
Yeah. They do mention sleep, especially for kiddos and starting school later so that they have time to eat and get enough sleep. And I'm like, yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. No idea how these kids will get to school, and that's all right. Oh, wait. Yes, I do, because mom will be at home and able to, right.
You're right.
Light bulb moment. Oh no. Okay. Mom's at home and then, able to take these kiddos to school. I figured it out. It's good.
Good. That is solved. I like that idea of, kids need to be outside more at school. There's too much desk time. I get that. We haven't talked about is all the toxins that are going to hurt us.
Is there a list of toxins that are going to hurt us?
They want you to be very careful about the things you bring into your home. So no scents within 100 feet of you that are artificial.
Okay.
I mean, I just tried to buy a couch that wasn't full of, yucky stuff because I am privileged in that way. But I could not buy the couch that was perfect because, they start at like $4,000.
Okay.
So, yeah. So, it's great. But it's like you see who this is for and who this isn't for.
Yeah.
It's very clear. But yeah, shampoo, furniture, get those flame retardants away from us, which I agree with that. But come on, make it affordable. Yeah, everybody should use air filtration, which is good because Truemed promotes that with FSA and HSA. Use glass instead of plastic. But yeah, I think what bothers me here is like, again, what they don't talk about, like they never bring out environmental racism or no. Like Cancer Alley in Louisiana, I think, didn't Trump just drop the charges there?
It somehow ignored whatever was happening.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's one thing, there's so many things happening like that. But, because statistics around race and ethnicity and poverty are like not part of the equation anymore. We don't talk about that.
Get rid of the EPA.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
This reminds me of their claim, their view of only eating organic foods, and this list is racist and classist. And the way that they say that is just in the same, like we shouldn't say only buy organic because it's classist. And we're just saying what is true, and that should be enough. Why wouldn't you, only feed your kids organic food? And I was like, do you want the answer to that question? Because 99% of us are able to answer that question. So I don't know. It's
Do you think they really can't answer it? Or, I mean, do you think they've just been in their bubble too long? Or do you think they know the truth here?
That's a really great wraparound. Okay. That's true. That's again, with the spin. So is it the rest of the population that is aspiring to be them? And that's why this message resonates? Is it because it can't be like everyone who voted for Trump hearing we should only buy organic food and thinking that that is a helpful message to be sharing? So is it the American bootstrappy, I aspire to be that person that makes this resonate with so many people who watch Tucker Carlson? I don't know. I
also wonder how many of them are buying that. I mean, does it feel a little fluffy for some people, this message?
Ooh, like too wellnessy.
Yeah. I grew up in Southern Missouri, very working class, town of 4,000 people. I wonder if this message really resonates.
Yeah.
I wonder if they have everyone here, or I don't know.
Yeah. And who was talking about mitochondrial dysfunction in the Trump voter population?
No one.
No, what?
No one.
So, I mean, we can get to that in the grift later on.
I mean, I think the policy messages that will really land with some folks are about what we take away and not what we add.
Fair. That's a really good point. Selena, you've been listening to so much of this. Can you just spit back to me some of their best statistics?
I can. I don't know if I'm going to be as aggressive as they are and as loud, but I'm going to try. Okay. So 70% of kids' diets are ultra processed foods.
Yes.
80% of our time is spent sitting. 74% of US adults and 40% of children are overweight and obese or obese. I don't like those words. Yeah. 52% of American adults have type 2 diabetes or prediabetes.
Yes.
30% of teens have prediabetes.
Right.
18% of teens have fatty liver. 34% of young adults have mental, emotional, or behavioral disorders. I mean, I could go on. They get into the fertility statistics, infertility going up 1% a year. 26% of women have PCOS, polycystic ovarian syndrome. 95% of chronic disease is tied to metabolism. Autoimmune diseases are going up. Young adult cancers are going up. Early dementia is going up.
Yeah.
And then, of course, they have their conflicts of interest. So,
okay.
So 95% of the dietary guidelines, the panel has conflicts of interest. And they really hate their advice. That's wrong and bad. And then, 28% of doctors take a nutrition class. The other ones never get one.
Yeah.
Oh, and then of course, 25% of men under 40 have erectile dysfunction. So at one point I got really excited because they were talking about EDs and I'm like, oh my gosh, they're acknowledging that eating disorder exists.
No.
Erectile dysfunction. That is the priority here. Yeah. So they have a lot of things. They say them over and over and over again. They sound really scary. We're definitely all dying. It's definitely the end of civilization. And we need to take immediate action, which would involve putting them in power.
Right. And Selena, are you able to verify these statistics?
So if I did this, I would probably spend months like diving into where they got these from and what the actual range is, because, you know, statistics are always a range because you look at different populations and then you average them or, you know, present that. But they don't like that level of nuance. So there are a few things that I feel like we could really dig into. So that's really looking at two of the statistics that they say are we spend 4 times more per capita on healthcare than other wealthy nations. And then they say that life expectancy is going down in the US, but up in other wealthy countries. So that sounds really terrible. And they want us to believe that we spend more on healthcare. You know, we're sicker, we don't live as long, and, you know, therefore corruption, shock, awe.
One of my favorite healthcare claims was that it's the fastest growing industry in America. Quick Google search.
Yeah, I guess it depends on what they lump together in that stat.
Forbes says, artificial intelligence and machine learning, clean energy and storage technologies, healthcare technology, which counts, encompasses digital health platforms, advanced diagnostics, and personalized medicine. Oh, kind of like, you know, that wearable devices. Yes. And cybersecurity, advanced manufacturing, and robotics.
Okay. So their industry is growing. Good for them.
Their personal industry is going. Yes. Not at all like people who are, you know, insurance companies. It is not, insurance companies at all. And then I'm looking at this page, and as I am scrolling, the ad on the right-hand side is Mark Zuckerberg and the magic of the metaverse. So like, yeah, it's not healthcare that's trying to advertise for me right now at all. It's a good time.
Yeah. So like the thing that I could dive into was, you know, why do people in the US have a lower life expectancy than people in other rich countries, despite, you know, paying so much for healthcare? So the things that they don't think about are smoking. So that's something that's been more prevalent in this country than other wealthy countries. And that really stopped in like 2000. People were pretty heavy smokers between 1950 and 2000. And then, of course, there's like a lag on death rates related to that. But they couldn't go into that level of detail. Another thing worth noting is that the Office on Smoking and Health was closed for the CDC. And that's an office that does a lot of big campaigns. And it was very important in, you know, research around commercial tobacco. And now it's gone, which might be why they don't talk about it. But also opioid overdoses. So more people in the US die from that. More people die from suicide and road accidents. And then, of course, you know, poverty and income equality, which is not something that they're going to talk about. But we know that, like, poor people in this country have much lower resources than they do in these other countries.
Yeah. Maternal and infant mortality rates are so much higher here, which is like, if we're looking at averages, babies dying is going to really bring down that average.
Absolutely. Yeah. And you know what? They do give a nod to that, but they don't talk about who it's affecting, of course, which is American Indian, Alaska Native, and Black folks. So, yeah. And then, of course, we have lower access to healthcare. So there's still, you know, 8% of the U.S. population is still without healthcare. And everywhere that they're comparing us to, of course, has universal healthcare. So, but yeah, they're very against Medicare for all.
Great.
And they haven't thought about firearm deaths or, you know, anything else, mobility, other things that these other countries might have.
Nothing.
Or not have.
Wow. I saw that Peloton, which I gotta say, I use, was partnering with Truemed Are you able to explain the FSA which one?
Both of them. Both of them.
The FSA and HSA connection to Peloton and other things.
Yeah. Yeah. Also a Peloton user.
Oh, I didn't know. Wait. Yeah. I want to keep this in. Do you have a bike, tread, row, or both?
So I have a bike and I bought the row and did not like it and sold it.
Okay. Back to Peloton and Truemed.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm kind of regretting, why didn't I buy my Peloton? Well, I bought a refurbished one, but yeah, why didn't I buy it through Truemed? So basically what Truemed does is in their words, it helps you unlock your HSA or FSA funds for proactive health investments like fitness, nutrition, and advanced health tech. So, they get you a letter of medical necessity. Yep. I think this is all done online. And then they say that you can save an average of 30% on powerful root cause interventions.
Right.
So, so let's look at some of their best sellers. So yes, we have Peloton. You can get that Peloton tread for $3,000.
Right.
You can get a pod mattress cover for $2,300.
Whoa.
Better sleep.
Okay.
Yeah. And then of course you can get Armra colostrum.
Yep.
That's not a good name. They need to take an R out there. But anyway, Armra colostrum for $110 a jar. So,
this much, but okay.
Yeah. It's grass-fed cow colostrum, and you will experience less bloating, improve lean muscle, and have thicker hair, skin radiance, and diminish wrinkles.
Good. Okay.
Yes. They also have a higher dose red light face mask. That's $339. Also, get rid of those wrinkles, which I didn't know was a health thing. But and then they have, dose, which is $99 for 24 bottles. That's, it's like a liver and immunity tonic of sorts, stuff like the immunity one is like zinc and stuff that you could just buy at a co-op. And okay, not a bestseller, but they also have a $14,000 sauna, mini sauna choices that you could purchase for your home.
Okay.
Yep. So yeah, Calley is super worried about not paying for soda on Snap, but I am definitely more worried about this. I mean, it's not directly subsidizing with taxpayer money, right? But it's like those taxes are not being paid into the system. And I would much rather see them go to things like mobile markets in every community than a $14,000 sauna.
That's amazing. The fact that you have to pay this money too upfront is my favorite part. It's not even, So you get reimbursed. It's not like Truemed is out there buying your stuff for you.
No. Yeah. I mean, this is definitely accessible to people with the expendable income. And, lots of times this money just gets trapped in those FSA and HSA accounts. Yeah. And currently only 37% of people have an FSA or HSA. Yeah.
Likely for medical expenses. That's the max is in there because we have something going on. My favorite thing that was subsidized is AG1. So we are just coming full circle here on the influencer entities that, what is the roundtable is my question. Mark and Andrew and these two and the colostrum folks, how often are they meeting and deciding how to make more money from each other? I don't know. Yeah,
and of course the food babe,
yes,
the post goddess, and all these
Jillian Michaels. Where is the meeting? I just want to
it's at the White House or the round table or the Maha Ball. They had that.
Oh,
yeah, and that's sweet.
Wait, it actually happened? I thought you were making that up.
No,
stop it. Fascinating. So, what do you think the grift is in all of this?
I feel like the grift is they're getting a lot of power. I think Calley is most interested in power and influence. Casey, I just don't know what's going on with her. I don't know. It's hard for me to be quite as angry at Casey sometimes.
Look at you.
I know. I don't know how. I mean, I've gone back and forth. I'm extra irritated with her bad nutrition advice or it's not even always bad advice, but just the thinking that everyone can do this. So we know that Casey and Calley are very much against conflicts of interest in research. They want to fire or at least Calley wants to fire all of the corrupt, anyone who takes money from food companies, drug companies, who's involved in research. and wants it to be unbiased. And he did actually say on Tucker Carlson that they want to put doctors on there that you and I know. So they have their list of people. So we'll have Dr. Mark Hyman and Robert Lustig and, those folks doing the Dietary Guidelines Committee.
Mm-hmm.
But they're very much against this corruption. So I started looking into some of the folks who Casey partners with on her newsletter. So just, not a whole lot, but two things stuck out to me. Or I didn't look into a whole lot, but two things stuck out to me right away. So she partnered with this company called Pendulum, which is a supplement that's supposed to lower glucose.
Mm-hmm.
And her quote is that their glucose control formulation has been clinically tested in randomized placebo-controlled trials, assessing the efficacy of their probiotic strain in managing blood sugar, yada, yada. The results are powerful and gives the statistics. So I actually went and looked at the research. And all authors are employees and stock option shareholders of Pendulum Therapeutics. And let's look at our N. This research was based on 21 people.
Great.
Yes.
Good. This is good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And that Pendulum costs $99 to $159 for a 1 month supply.
Wow. I feel this is the lies part. Yes, people are calling, false statements and conspiracy theories, but I feel like these two are really good at lying. Like it's intentional.
Well, I don't think the people that she sends her newsletter out are going to actually go to PubMed and read the study and see that, because why would you waste your time that way? And I did, but
you wanted to be knowledgeable.
But I feel like they definitely have companies that will benefit from this. Yeah. Truemed especially. I don't think that Calley will walk away from the White House without having more FSA funding.
Mm-hmm.
They do want to get everyone an HSA account.
Yeah.
So yeah, more of that could happen. That would definitely be good for his business. And yeah, I think he has a political career that he's looking out for.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Truemed is my monetary grift in this one for sure. And in all of the ways that they have found to make money. So all these partnerships, they really seem altruistic too, kind of like Huberman and his AG1, just like we're trying to help the people. And I think when people believe that and buy into it and they forget that it's about money and that it's a corporation and all of these things, this corporation is different than other corporations, et cetera. I think the power in this place as well. So with power comes money. So I think that is the route to those things. The ability to make and create policy that will inevitably wrap around to money. I think this is a lot of Calley. Unclear where. So you're right in that it has definitely been Calley and all the talking points. It's been Casey and not all, but many of the mitochondrial health comments and statements. As Surgeon General, I can see her being able to funnel a bunch of money back in a way that gets to her family for sure.
Yeah. And I don't even know if she's that ill-intentioned, but the truth is it's happening.
Look at you being so nice.
Well, I don't know. I just wish they'd consult other people. But
why wouldn't fit with their clear agenda?
But okay, so we know that Dr. Casey did not like your article in Time magazine that was talking about ultra-processed foods.
The people don't know that.
Okay, well, let's tell them about it. So yeah, Casey is usually pretty upbeat and positive and doing her manifesting. But every once in a while, there'll be someone that just really irks her. Mm-hmm. And this was you.
Yay.
In August of 2024. Mm-hmm. Your what if ultra processed foods aren't as bad as you think? So that was the original name of the article. And then I think she sort of credits herself as the name of the article changing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. What?
Yeah. So she has this big rant that she does on her Instagram, really just accusing this of being confusing. She said she doesn't know whether to laugh or cry about the article. And she says it's just right out of mainstream media's playbook. So yeah, the point of it is to seed confusion and normalize ultra processed foods. And then my favorite, which is distract and shut down discourse by bringing in social justice. So how dare you?
Oh, wow. I'm so honored. That's amazing. Oh, and that coincides with the DEI statement that you sent me that I'll put at the top of this. So yeah, that totally matches the sentiment on DEI. So because of her, / because of RFK, / because of Making America Healthy Again, I wonder if that is also how Mark Hyman had to chime in on things too. Because yeah, maybe they were...
I think that she lifted this right from Mark Hyman because he posted it and then she probably saw it on his and decided to talk about it.
Okay. Decided to chime in.
Yeah. But like it bothers me how much they don't want other opinions and they don't want hard questions. Like what if she was like, this Jessica Wilson, I would like to talk to her and be curious about why she's saying these things. I mean, you basically did the same ultra processed foods experiment as someone else who wrote about it very differently. But that's not your overall point, I don't think. I think your point is that we need to think about what people need access to before we think about taking this away.
And the hypocrisy of it all. But yeah, it was interesting because I was featured, but so many other like researchers were talking about the same thing. So yeah, I don't remember any of them being accused of anything. Granted, time was.
Yeah. Mad at the media and mad at you, it seemed like.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that was interesting to me. And then the social justice aspect of it all. That's fantastic. Wow.
Yeah. Congratulations. I think they probably spend a decent amount of time thinking about you and your ideas. So I don't know.
And my biometrics.
Yeah.
So if and how that was threatening to have other people question what they were saying.
Yeah.
I had missed that and I hadn't put that together, but how people continuing this conversation could be really calling into question what they're saying and also critiquing the supplement industry at the same time.
Yeah. 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 They're not interested in other opinions or lived experience or anything like that.
Or poor people, even though they keep saying that they are. And
because it's a knowledge problem. Right. You know, doctors need to be trained better. They need that nutrition class. Then they're going to go out and have diet and lifestyle be the first line intervention. And that is going to fix everything. Because people listen to their doctors and they need to stop listening to the NIH and the USDA and these other corrupt organizations. And that's kind of how this goes.
Wow. Okay. So this is another TBD. I did one once RFK was nominated. So this is a episode being recorded both pre-nomination and pre-confirmation. What do you think the verdict on the confirmation will be?
I imagine that she'll get in, and I challenge her to make some changes that actually help people.
You're so nice.
I don't know. The medical freedom people don't like her, but I don't know. I think this is RFK's choice. And I think this is Trump's choice, and I think they'll stand by it. And I think that Casey Means is not out there enough that she wouldn't get confirmed.
Yeah. I think that if she gets to the table and gets to talk to people, that she will be confirmed.
Well, if you ever want to go back, I got more. So stop going down rabbit holes.
Yes. I'll bring you back if indeed she goes to Congress and we look at confirmation and we can just, give some updates on how it goes and the great questions I'm sure she will be asked.
Good. Well, I had fun doing this with you. Thank you.
Yeah, this was great. I did have a good time. That was a lot of research, and I'm so grateful Selena was able to piece it together for us. I'm not even sure congressional staffers will be as thorough if Casey goes to Congress, and hopefully this episode can reach them. Our next grifter lined up is Paul Saladino, the former carnivore doctor. Trampus Harmon and I will get into why he had to leave that lifestyle behind and how he's making his money now. Stay listening for my and Selena's favorite Peloton instructors. If you like this episode, you can rate it, review it, share it with a congressional staffer. You can write a review on Apple Podcasts and give me 5 stars. My dad will come back to read those reviews. This episode was edited and mixed by Jen Jacobs, who has been infected by DEI. It's sponsored. Nope. Yeah, sponsored, supported, those things, by the legacy of Sacramento Outboard Services. Top 2 or top favorite instructor on the Peloton?
Tunde and Robin, when I don't mind being yelled at.
Yeah.
How about you?
Hannah Frakes, because I never want to be yelled at. And her brain is so affirming to me.
Okay.
Yes. And I need to laugh, and I truly laugh. And the British accent also helps. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I don't get on there to be yelled at. But so many people do. Yeah.
I don't turn Robin up. I just like her. I like her structure of her classes.
It's fair. I think Hannah has the
influencer for me.
Yeah, Hannah's got the best music. So yeah, it's fun. Like some people, I'm there for the good times. Most people are there for the hard times. But okay.